Okay, new political litmus test. If you have any funding from AIPAC or any Israeli institution, person, government, whatever, you're done. We're not supporting you. I don't care who you are, because what we see is left or right wing, when you're funded by AIPAC or anybody associated with that country, you fuck us over. You don't listen to us because you can't. You have to listen to your AIPAC donors. So, left or right, no matter who you are, litmus test, any funding from AIPAC, you're done. Okay, new political litmus test.
Okay, that's it. The cult. We're in a cult. We're in a series of overlapping cults. On the West Coast, they have the gender dysphoria cult. MAGA has had its own cult. This is why this book is so important. Okay? The cult is rupturing. There's people inside the cult, people outside the cult. There's people deconstructing the cult. AIPAC is going to unload on Thomas Massey in Tennessee, and it's going to backfire. The more money they spend now, the more they're going to reveal the cult. This is, of course, the Great Seal of the United States, which is Baphomet, and this is Jack from the Overlook Hotel, and it's the cult culture, pun intended, of America is rupturing. Okay? This is going to happen. This is what's making this. This isn't 1968 and the DNC in Chicago and the police beat up a bunch of hippies. No. This is 1860, people. Trump is done. Tucker Carlson is done. Candace Owens is done. AOC is done. Okay? You've accepted these people as part of your cult. And we're all in the cult. See how this works? But now that's rupturing. So guys like me have been telling you it's Death Star for 4 years. Guys like me have been telling you that the Great Reset, the financial reset, is we're going from these ledgers to these ledgers. It's not about coins, okay? So all this craziness is going on, Gaza, Ukraine, to hide what's really going on, and that's the financial reset underneath. The real action is down here. Okay, but we're going to go through a couple years here of they're going to transition us from Trump to J.D. Vance with the eyeliner and Peter Thiel's boy, and then we're going to start asking questions like, why do all the people that run America are not born in America? Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Andreessen, etc. Okay? We're going to have this really intense thing. It's not your Uncle Bob who wears the MAGA hat to Thanksgiving and gets in an argument with his lesbian niece who has a ring in her nose from Portland or whatever. They're now on the same team, Linda. They're now on the same team, and they can see it. They can see it. Tucker's done. Tucker Carlson is fucking done. There's another video of Alex Jones. You're like, yeah, the CIA approached my family. These people are, they're controlled opposition. You see how this works? Now, those of us who, work for a living have been, I've done 1,000 hours of lives for TikTok. And what's going to happen to TikTok? The irony of this, what's going to happen to TikTok this fall? The censorship is going to be taken over by a former IDF soldier. And I lost my previous account with 87,000 followers because I said that the lobby had undue control over social media, and it took that whole account down. 4 days later, Jonathan Greenblatt's on a hot mic saying, we have a major problem with TikTok. And he said, it's not left-right. It's not as above, so below. It's not all this Kabbalistic left-right, pink-blue bullshit. It's generations, just like the book The Fourth Turning taught us. The generations are changing over now, right? Trump's going to go to Tennessee and try to displace Thomas Massey. Probably what's her name? Michelob General Draft, or MTG, is Marguerite Taylor Greene, is going to probably show up and defend Thomas. and you're going to have a complete rupture. And this is why I have to keep holding this book up. I've just started reading this. This woman, Danielle Young, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm going to skip that, is on TikTok. She's like blowing up my TikTok feed. And she is saying, she talks about the cult that she was raised in. She's talking about the U.S. military as a cult. My son went through that. Another time I could tell you that story. But the cults are all rupturing. I haven't gotten to the part like what happens when the cult falls apart. But she's making the point that the mission hasn't gone away. So here's where it really gets weird. I know I put a bunch of stuff up, but nobody's watching it. I'm showing you how.
If you have any fun.
Sorry. I'm showing you how AI. What did I put up today? I don't even know what I put up today. I put up everybody's favorite Muslim, King Bolson, that says America's a cult. I put up Here, let's just listen to this guy for a second. I'll just give you like a snippet of these. You can go watch them yourself. I'm telling you, if you put these all in a package, and I know I'm feeding you a lot of stuff, but I'm the guy 3 years ago that told you it's Death Star, Death Star, Death Star. Okay? There's no Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. That's Mickey. That's cartoonish. These people couldn't run your local community college. So why are they there? Because they control the whole thing with a cult.
Really, the West is a cult. I mean, I've said it before. The West, America, is a cult. And I'm not being hyperbolic. This is why Americans specifically are immediately identifiable, no matter where they are. You know, why they really come across as strange and brainwashed to everyone else.
I'm just going to leave that there. You can go watch it yourself. That's a pretty good lead in. He's saying, remember, there's 175 nations around the world, and there's only 2 nations that don't subscribe to the ICJ, America and Israel, because they're in a cult.
Files, Word documents, and scrolls and glyphs and whatever magic spells you want to call it. And it's going to pretend to remember. People are giving this massive amounts of attribution. I even heard Preston Rhodes say, hey, you should bleed into this thing, give it your life story, put all your emotional energy into it so that it knows your patternicity and recognize it. This is deeply unadvisable. The reason is you can think about drift, just like the drift we see happening here. It goes off to the edge. Where it started is not where it ends. Okay, does it come full circle? Maybe not. Or does it divide the universe by 0? Or does the feedback ever normalize? And if it normalizes, does it normalize on behalf of you or the big tech firm that owns the LL model? Okay. See? What kind of objective or user retention systems are inside these models that are basically not really symmetrically balanced with you? There's an asymmetry. There is no mutual poiesis, which is a word that we created to.
He's describing this sort of technological cult that the AI, we are engaging the AI. I wake up in the morning and I turn on TikTok, and I know that I'm in a cult. I know that it's almost like, good morning, Margaret. What are you gonna show me this morning? Right? That's what TikTok is. And now I know it's gonna go to the IDF. Right? That's the public. It's what we know now. He's telling you, and I think he's the best on AI, super intelligent AI, that people are engaging these giant systems. Now let's just talk about a little bit of finance for a minute. They're going to put, just like they put trillions of dollars per year, there's a minimum of $1 trillion a year in the defense budget throughout the war on terror, right? We have nothing to show for the war on terror except the debt, and over 40,000 veterans who've come home, who've unalived themselves. That's more people than we lost in the Pacific Theater in World War II. We're living in a fucking cult, people, and the cult is rupturing. Now they're going to try to double down, triple down, tenfold down, $1 trillion. Everything's coming home. We can't beat Iran. We can't beat Russia. We can't beat the Middle East. We can't beat the Houthis. We can't beat China. We can't beat anybody. So everything's coming home, and the last trillions of dollars are going against you, Americans. They're going against you. This enemy is foreign and domestic. You can stay with me for about 2, 3, 4 more minutes. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do about it.
Do you know how much money the Magnificent Seven spent on data centers in just the second quarter of 2025? The Magnificent Seven is a fancy name for the 7 companies that are leading on AI. So think like Meta, NVIDIA, Microsoft, OpenAI, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. Do you know how much they spent? You think it was $100 billion? It was $100 billion in 1 quarter.
So it's $100 billion in 1 quarter. At the same time, we have $1 trillion defense budget. At the same time, we're cutting taxes on the rich. At the same time, we're increasing the taxes on the poor and the middle class with tariffs. The whole project is because, as I've told you, it's like the end of Gone with the Wind. The war on terror, we lost. The only thing we have to show for the war on terror is the debt. So now the real estate people are starting to lay into us and tell us, like, there's 1 million homes for sale in Florida. There's 1 million homes currently being serviced in FHA by the federal government that Trump's going to pull off. That's another 1 million homes. There's 2 million homes of inventory that don't really have a home. The whole thing is predicated on we're going to lower interest rates, which they're probably going to do, but we're going to leave that for another day. As the curtain is pulled back on the entire Republican Party, on the entire Democratic Party, on the fact that AOC is a shill for 2 Israeli venture capitalists, everybody's going to look at it and go, my God, it's like we've been living in a cult. I just watched the movie Downfall, and the young secretary for Mustache Man sees them like the movie Cabaret, like looks at it and goes, oh my God, these are all a bunch of drunk people living in a fantasy land, living in a dream. That we've been living in a dream, a kind of a trauma bonded dream. Okay, so it's 5:20. I've been on here 13 minutes. So as usual, I'm 2 years ahead. Okay. I've been telling you there's a war that's going to end, and when it ends, all will be revealed. You'll be seeing that you're living in a cult like the people in Gone with the Wind. We don't have a cannon factory. We have slaves, cotton, and arrogance. Okay? We're running out of fucking slaves and cotton. Okay? So they're going to go all in, just like the war on terror. That has to continue because we're in retreat from the Houthis, from Iran. Israel is completely falling apart, physically falling apart. We can't even make the missiles to rebuild Iron Dome. It's like almost in some sort of weird fucking replication. What's the thing? History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. We are rhyming 1865, people. You follow me? We are in the new Confederacy is falling apart. You can hear Tecumseh Sherman is coming over the mountains, okay? You can hear the rumblings in the financial system. Okay, so the plan is, and it's always been the plan, because I read the plan 6 years ago. The Federal Reserve wrote a white paper on crypto, and they said the crypto will be the new ledgers. They'll be the new system underneath the banking system. The Federal Reserve published the whole thing 6 or 7 years ago. This isn't hard. So here comes Trump with his bombastic goofball style. If you ever really think about it, like, just in your own mind, do your best Joe Biden. I grew up in Scranton. Was raised by Puerto Ricans. Hairy legs. Come on, man. And then you do Trump, and you're like, looked at it very strongly. Unbelievable. They're the same guy. They're the same asshole. Okay? They put these at Obama. Change requires hope. It's all the same thing. There's nothing there. Okay? There's a conspiracy behind these people. You can now see the conspiracy. You can see Tucker Carlson not remember, is my dad in the fucking CIA or is my dad not in the fucking CIA? And they run both videos and it's like, what the fuck are you in the CIA? Okay? Same reality TV. Let's all calm down. There's another video of Alex Jones, Mr. fucking Conspiracy himself. And I watched it one day and I was like, dude, like you look like you have a handler. You look like someone puts you up to this. Trying to turn the frogs gay! Like he looks goofy. You know what I mean? And he said, my family was approached by the CIA. That's Alex Jones. That's like the big guy, right? Now, where the last man standing is Joe Rogan. I don't know. I really don't know. I'll tell you this, though, Linda. The guy to pay attention to, like if you really want to see how the world works, is Tim Dillon. There's nobody that can hang with Tim Dillon. He is just... He is like George Carlin and Robin Williams, like... Robin Williams, like... just ripping the lid off a thing, and it's like, oh, when you see dead children in Gaza, take a step back, read a book. You know, it's really dark, dark, dark humor. Okay, Sunshine, tell us, what are we going to do about this? Here domestically, as you see the failure of the lobby against things like Thomas Massey, as you see a failure of the intelligence community with Tucker, we need to return. There's two ways. There's a fork in the road and we have to take it. We either return to law, and we need RICO statutes to do that. This is an internal mafia-like operation. The book to read, which I haven't read yet, is One Nation Under Blackmail. If you remember Ian Carroll went on Candace Owens, and she came out and she said, you're a little too quick to just take Epstein and turn him into an Israelite, so to speak. It's more like a mafia operation. Okay? So we need RICO at home. I'm the only guy on the internet that's going to tell you this. We need RICO attack against these people. These people have come in between church and state. They've come into our election. We don't have a good way to fight these people off, right? We have very good ways to fight people off if they want to land, you know, if the Viet Cong want to show up in the coast of Oregon, we're ready for that, right? We're not really good at this, right? Because they infiltrate everything, the universities, media, the whole thing. We're not ready for this. And also, we need to recognize that what happened in Gaza was funded, and the literal physical weapon systems came from the United States, including Palantir. See how this works? In other words, the wars, the Death Star machine that just pushed 2 million people off of 90% of their land, so they're now compressed into a Warsaw-like thing. There's tales of all kinds of horrible things. We don't have to get into it on here. The enemy is foreign and domestic. So this afternoon I sent an email to a woman who's brilliant in Ireland, and I said, would you help me establish an operation out of Ireland that's just like the one in South Africa to connect the United States to Gaza? Follow me? It's got to be foreign and domestic because it's both. Right? That's how they did this. So Tucker sort of goes against the lobby, but he's sort of part of the lobby. He's fake opposition. Everywhere you look, there's fake opposition. This, I've been saying this for 4 years. The book, the Fourth Turning, has been saying this as well. This is like 1776, 1812, 1860, 1929, 1932, and 1941 all at the same time. This is the biggest threat to the United States. If you just look at what just happened in the last month. Thomas Massey puts together the votes to release the Epstein files. Okay? Michael, I'm Moses Johnson, and I talk to God, just dismisses Congress like a parliamentary system. They shut down the U.S. legislature. Okay, so they have the executive branch, the legislative. They have executive, they have legislative, and they have the judicial branch. All of which is being run by a conspiracy at home and abroad. Lastly, Who is the father of Israel? You can go find the answer to that yourself. Lastly, who announced that they're coming here in 2013? You can find that on my TikTok feed. It's sort of an orangish, pinkish color because it was from the Financial Times. Who got kicked out of Russia? Who purports to be part of a religion but is actually in sort of the cultic, Jacob Frankist side of that religion? Okay, these all have the same answer. When Lincoln was assassinated, the great unifier of Germany, Bismarck, pointed to a conspiracy by European bankers. But they're now no longer European, they're now here on shore. We need a strategy, a tactic that is deployed for an enemy that's foreign and domestic. 9/11 revealed a Middle Eastern, religiously motivated, fanatical conspiracy to put America on a path that not only is destructive overseas, but terribly destructive at home. They're going to try to keep it together with Palantir. It's not going to fucking work, people. You need to prepare for what's next, okay? You need to go look at the NASDAQ, and you need to ask yourself, what happens if everybody wakes up one day and realizes the NASDAQ is Palantir? What if everybody realizes that the NASDAQ is a foreign enemy? Okay, so this is going to be for free on TikTok. It doesn't really, you can't really talk about it's going to be for free on Substack. We can't really do this on TikTok anymore. Like, TikTok is literally going to be turned over to the IDF. Like, that's my point to you today. It's Wendy, like, running through the Overlook Hotel going, what the fuck's going on? And then she turns the corner and she looks into this big, stupid ballroom of, like, your local Halloween costume place of, like, spider webs and skeletons. And it's like, the house is haunted, bitch. The house is haunted, people. The house has always been haunted. Remember when they said to this guy, you've always been the caretaker here, Mr. Grady. Mr. Torrance. Remember Grady says that to him? We live in the world of the occult. This is Baphomet. Let me wind down with this. All the imagery of America follows behind this. J.F.C. Fuller, the author, British tank commander, and author of A Brief Military History of the Western World, said that the American Revolution was the last chapter in the Protestant Reformation. So unlike those European powers that all had, like, a Christian king and a parliament and freedom of conscience, like we have, we went all the way and just got rid of all the Christian stuff and just had freedom of conscience, right? And then we added more and said, Congress shall pass no law enacting the establishment of a religion. I think I got that sentence right. It's the first line of the Bill of Rights. That has been abrogated by these Frankist occult people that work above board. You see them on television. You see Bret Stephens in the New York Times saying, I'm glad we went to war with Iraq. I'm glad I propagandized it. I'm glad 1 million people died. Bret Stephens. Okay? That's an example of that. And then there's all these hidden people. This is the world of Epstein. As above, so below. These people are all interrelated. Domestically, we have to deal with a mafia. Foreign, we have to deal with a political force that operates in the United States and doesn't obey our laws. And it's called the lobby. And now we're waking up to see, like, a guy who we sort of gave, like, the Joe Rogan flag to, right? Tucker Carlson. One day he says, my dad's CIA. One day he says he's not. This is how bad this is. It's like a great big trust none of us. We don't know who the fuck to trust. But I'll end with this. I don't even know who this guy is. The guy, sorry, I went dead. The guy I played here at the beginning, he said there's now a litmus test. You're either for the people who have just committed a genocide or you're against them. It's not about culture and abortion and tax rates. It's now a litmus test. Whether you're for these wars, whether you're for these illegal, and understand the reason I'm saying we have to go to the ICJ is all of the wars since 9/11 are illegal under international law. Obama and Clinton just don't wake up one morning and say, fuck it, let's take out Gaddafi. If you tie from September 11 to Gaza, if you tie that whole thing together, many of the people you've seen on TV, let's just do an example of like the generals that you see on MSNBC, right? McCaffrey and this woman takes on Petraeus. Petraeus is a total piece of shit. Now, Victoria Nuland, who started the war, the ongoing, unprovoked war in Ukraine, which has now completely destroyed the Ukraine. Her sister runs something called the Institute for the Study of War, where they raise money and pay these fucking generals to go on TV and propagate propaganda. See how this works? It's a conspiracy. We need RICO at home and ICJ overseas. See you on Substack.